All right, welcome back to episode 2 of Not Another Moto Pod, hosted by Sam Fury. Really excited to be back and to keep this thing going. I got some really good feedback from episode 1, so we're going to continue this, maybe try to make this a thing throughout the season. Um, like I said, some good feedback. Definitely noticed myself showing love to a lot of people in episode 1. We'll try to refrain from that going forward, but um, I think with this podcast, I'm going to keep it short, maybe 20 to 30 minutes each pod, just do a quick recap of races, maybe breaking news or just previewing things throughout the season. Obviously, want to preview MX before the season, SMX when that comes about. Um, and I think that will be a good starting point for this podcast. So, we are now on YouTube and Spotify. You can find us at Not Another Moto Pod. You can also find us on Instagram at Not Another Moto Pod or on X, Twitter at Not Another Moto. And with that said, let's jump into the 250 recap of 2024. So in 2024, in the 250 class, we really saw some good battles in both classes, in Supercross as well as outdoors and in SMX. So let's start with West just to kind of keep on theme with A1 coming up in 3 days here. We did see RJ Hampshire take his first title. Second was Levi Kitchen. It looked like he was in the battle there. I really think Kitchen could have won if not for the incident with McAdoo at the East-West Shootout in Nashville. Jordan Smith looked pretty good throughout the year, the best he's looked in years. And Joe Shimoda fourth with kind of another disappointing Supercross year. First year aboard the HRC Honda 250, so we'll give him a pass there, but we really expect to see more from Joe, I think. Let's go east. We saw Tom Vial beat out Deegan, Hammaker, McAdoo, a lot of the heavy hitters that we kind of expected to be up front. And Vial kind of took advantage of the 9 whoop rule last year in Supercross on the way to his first title there aboard the KTM. Deegan did finish second. He did everything he could at the last East-West Shootout to kind of finish the year on top, but he just didn't have enough there. Early in the year, he had some mistakes, some rough finishes that really put him behind the 8 ball. Throughout the year, it was really a 1-2-3 battle with McAdoo there as well until he got hurt and had to exit the series, finishing 6th overall. Looking forward to outdoors. I mean, Deegan dominated. What can you say? Vial and Kitchen really showed some flashes, but Deegan was the class of the field. I think Deegan has brought along a lot of hype moving forward, especially going into the Supercross season. We saw Ty Masterpool, Chance Hymas, Joe Shimoda all come on late and just not do enough. But like I said, Deegan was really the class of the field. It's really what we expect of him and what we did expect of him in Supercross. So it was good to see him, kind of match his speed and racecraft and kind of put everything together in the outdoors. On to Super Motocross. Deegan won again, his second Super Motocross title in 2 years. He looked unbeatable. He was unbeatable until the last race there with Pierce Brown taking the win. He almost looked perfect. This was the best Deegan we've ever seen. We hope to see flashes of this in Supercross this year. Vial got second. He was a little bit off the pace every race, but he's a very consistent rider, as he showed in the Supercross series, and stayed close and kind of made it interesting for a bit there. I just didn't have enough. Pierce Brown finished third after taking the win in Vegas, his first ever win aboard the 250. It was really surprising to some. He finally got a start and stayed out front and strong. Joe Shimoda, who always comes on late in the SMX series, 2 years in a row now. He looked all right in SMX, kind of building off what he did in outdoors at the end of the year. Again, didn't have enough. And I just want to shout out to Juju Bomer, who got a second place early in the season at SMX. Really showed some speed and showed that he can be one of the guys in that SMX series. So we obviously mentioned a lot of names there. There's a lot of fast guys in this 250 class, a lot of young guys coming up, some veterans. And with that, we're just going to move on to the 2025 preview starting at A1 here on January 11th. We've got a pretty good idea of who's going to be racing, maybe outside of RJ Hampshire, who has not yet confirmed. He did have an injury late in the offseason, which we assume would put him east. However, he is listed, I believe, on the entry list for A1 as of now. I could kind of throw a fork in things, if he does end up racing west this year. Obviously, he may be a little hurt, but we know with RJ, that's not going to keep him out of the battle. Um, Going to that, our title favorite, I mean, it's Deegan, it's Levi Kitchen. These are the two guys who have put it together in both series, really looked like the fastest guys on their respective coasts last year and just weren't able to get it done. These guys going head to head should be a really good battle. We really didn't see the battle that we expected out of these two in motocross last year. Kitchen looked a little down. However, he does, to me, look a little better in Supercross nowadays. Obviously, in his rookie season, he was much better outdoors, but he looks like he's really picked up the speed and the racecraft for the indoor series. I do still look at Deegan as the favorite. This is the year he puts it together. It's year three. We see a lot of past champions put it together in year three, and I really believe these two to be the two title guys. Um, Next, I want to go to Austin Forkner and Joe Shimoda. These are my two other guys who I think are really going to be in there every week. These are going to be our top four more often than not, I would believe. We really want to see how Forkner bounces back, but he showed last year that his speed is there. Injury after injury, he always bounces back. Now aboard a new bike, we'd love to see what he can do. We're really rooting for Forkner this year. Would love to see the Triumph's first win come from Forkner, and I really do think that happens at some point this season. Shimoda, he's been a bit off in Supercross. We've always expected a lot more from him. He's shown flashes of speed. He showed what he can do when he's out front. But he always has these weird tip overs or a bad start or things that put him behind the eight ball. And he doesn't really have the all-out speed to come after these guys. So we'll see if he can put it together this year, and maybe finish on the box more often than not. Next, I want to look at guys like Garrett Marchbanks, Juju Beaumare, Ryder D. These are guys that I think could win races. I don't think it's likely in this class. We've seen Marchbank finish a lot on the podium in 250 Supercross. He's a really fast rider. He's really good. He's won races in the past, back aboard the PC bike. We'll see what happens. This is a pretty stacked field, and I'm really interested to see how Garrett matches up. Juju Beaumare, we touched on him earlier. He looked really fast in SMX last year. He kind of put it together late. He's a really good starter as far as I can tell. He's had some weirdo races where he doesn't start as well, but as early as his first Supercross race, he was out front. He starts out front. He's just got to put it all together. Next, I want to touch on Ryder D. Ryder D hasn't really reached his potential yet. Last year was his rookie Supercross season, though it feels like he's been around forever. We'll see if he can put some things together. I really think I could see him on the box a few times this year, though I'm not sure he will be a race winner. He's not the best starter week in and week out. He's always around the top four, but he hasn't shown that he can put the speed in with that, those top three guys when he gets to start up there. So lastly, I kind of want to touch on Cody Schock and Jordan Smith. Cody Schock finished third in this series last year. We had a bunch of injuries, things like that kind of let him sneak his way up there. But Cody Schock's a really fast guy. I don't know that I see him on the podium, but I really would see him between 4 and 8 every week. I really think he can surprise some of these heavy hitters here. And lastly, of course, Jordan Smith. Jordan Smith could be a race winner, though I'm not sure. Switching to the Triumph, another bike brand. He's been switching teams a lot lately, unfortunate as it may be. He looked pretty fast last year. He just wasn't able to put it together for the series. He did win races. He knows how to win races. But with this stacked field, I'm not sure that I see that coming from Jordan Smith yet this year. Like I said, I do think we see Forkner win a race aboard the new Triumph, but I'm not sure if we see Jordan Smith up there. I would love to be surprised. I'd love to see him up there. He's a really fun rider to watch, and he definitely keeps things interesting. Moving on to 250 East. This East round is going to start in Tampa on February 8th. So we're going to have 4 early rounds of the West guys before we go back to the East. Like I said earlier, we do believe RJ will race the East because of his injury, but if he doesn't, I believe he'll be right up there in the West with those other guys I mentioned as race winners and championship contenders. For now, I'm going to leave him on the East and talk about him here. And what do you say about RJ? I think he learned how to put it together last year. He's always had the speed. He's always had the skill. He's definitely older in the class. I think that lends him a hand, though. I think that's a good thing for him and for the rider that he is. He's definitely going to want to prove something in his last 250 full-time season. He is switching to the 450 for outdoors. Next, we have Vial. I don't want to leave Vial out. I would love to see Vial go back-to-back if he could. I really think Vial's an underrated rider. He definitely got a lot of help last year with the 9-whoop rule, but he benefited from it and he pounced. He showed up week in and week out, and he beat Deegan straight up. I think he can be a guy. He may not be the rawest, most, all-out speed guy, but he's definitely a consistent guy who can put it on the box every single week. He's definitely shown that, and that puts you right in the hunt in a 10-race series like the 250 Supercross class. The last guy that I want to talk about is my title contenders, along with RJ and Vial, would be Cameron McAdoo. I'm a huge Cameron McAdoo fan. I think he has some of the best all-out speed in this 250 class. He's just got to stay off the ground. One of these years, he may be able to put it together. He just hasn't shown it yet. It's really unfortunate. Cam has really built himself up to be this warrior type. I know we all remember the crash years ago during the COVID years at Atlanta, back-to-back weekends, and he's just a gnarly guy. He's gnarly on the bike, and he's super fast, and would love to see him put it together. It looked to me like he was going to do it last year in the East class before he did get hurt. He was on the box every single week. He had tons of second-place finishes, was right there in the points race, and unfortunate, again, got in that tangle up with Levi Kitchen and kind of took both of those guys out of the championship hunt. Next, I would like to talk about Seth Hamaker, Max Anstey, Nate Thrasher. These are 3 guys that, again, I could see winning races, have won races before, but I don't know that they will be in championship contention unless maybe one of these top 3 guys get hurt. Hamaker's a guy kind of himself who gets hurt quite often. He definitely has some speed. He's right up there with McAdoo. I've seen him chase down McAdoo several times. Sometimes he's not able to make the pass, but he's always right there. He's quick, man. He's a good rider, and I just don't think he's reached his potential quite yet. And most of that lends itself to how often he gets hurt as well. Max Anstey, he had the red plate last year, switching bikes obviously to that Star Yamaha. He's really excited to be in this class. He's a veteran like RJ. He knows how to, win races based on IQ. Maybe not the fastest guy, but his racecraft. So maybe we see Anstey up there a few times this year. He'll definitely have some podium finishes. I don't know if he's a race winner in this class. I don't know that Max has the all-out speed indoors. To me, at least, he's definitely going to be a threat outdoors, but we'll see what Max has for us this year. And then last, of course, I want to go to Nate Thrasher. Thrasher was in this series, was 2-3 years ago. I mean, man, he was putting it to Hunter Lawrence week in, week out, making Hunter work for it. Hunter did eventually win that series, of course, but Thrasher was really on rails all year. If only he could stay off the ground. He had some rough races last year, which put him back on the ground again quite often, and we haven't seen much from him. But hopefully we get a fully healed up Nate Thrasher by the start of the East Series, and I'd like to see what he could do. I definitely could see him winning a race in this class. Next, I want to talk about the 5 through 10, 6 through 10, 7 through 12 type of guys that I think will be in this class. Like I said, this is a pretty deep field on both coasts, actually. There are a lot of named riders. It looks like going to be East this year as opposed to the West, which is pretty top-heavy. As far as that goes, Pierce Brown, can he win another race? He just did it at the end of the year. albeit aboard the Gas, switching over to the Star Racing Yamaha. We'll see how he makes that transition. Switching off of the Star Racing Yamaha onto a Triumph, Styles Robertson. I don't know his status right now. He's been injured a lot. He didn't race the entirety of last year. He's fast, man. But we'll just see. We'll see what he has in store. We'll see what his health looks like. I think people forget that Styles won one of these Triple Crown main events when Levi Kitchen took his first Supercross win years ago. Styles has it all to put it together. He's just been hurt a lot and really has not had many gate drops to show that. So we'll see how that goes aboard the new Triumph. Max Voland also switching teams to the Club MX Yamaha. People are saying he looks really good. He seems really comfortable. Watching some YouTube clips from the Club MX team, Voland looks fast, man. He looks like a good racer. He's a good rider. This could be the year that he puts it on the podium more often than not. I really could see that, though I don't know that he's winning a race this year in my mind, at least. Next, we go to Chance Hymas, who kind of underperformed in Supercross last year. He really made a name for himself outdoors. We'll see if he can put some of that speed together indoors, get more comfortable aboard the bike in the Supercross class. We'll see how that goes. Chance Hymas is a big question mark for me in this class. Indoors. And we'll go to Ty Masterpool, fast guy, never good at Supercross. Really, again, made a name for himself outdoors the last 2 years. One year aboard the 450, last year aboard the Pro Circuit 250, even winning a race, beating Deegan straight up. Masterpool, I mean, hey, get a bunch of top 8 finishes and make it to outdoors. That's a win for him, truthfully. Next, I want to touch on Casey Cochran. He was really good as a young guy in the Futures class. He looked pretty good outdoors last year. He led a race for a long time. I know it was a bit of a muddier race, but he was up there. He showed some speed. Cochran's a really fun kid to watch, and I look forward to seeing kind of how he transitions full-time to the 250 Supercross class. And then lastly, reported today by Steve Mathis, we had Jalek Swoll. It looks like he has done an Achilles, which is probably going to put him out until the motocross series. It really sucks for Swoll. He looked pretty good last year. He was fast at times. I think he had a couple fourth place finishes. If not, he ran up there pretty early in the season. He's a fast guy and just hasn't had his fair shake in the Supercross class, but he's really, kind of shown some speed and shown some flashes outdoors especially. And with all that being said, I mentioned a lot of guys here. The 250 class is truly stacked. I think I mentioned upwards of 20 guys here. And what that really excites me for is the East-West showdowns this year. We have 3 of them, first time ever, I believe. If not ever, first time in a long time that we have had 3 East-West shootouts. I've been asking for this personally for years. It makes sense. It kind of matches up now with the Triple Crown series where there's 3 races with this different format. These East-West shootouts in this class this year are going to be gnarly. They're going to be stacked. Like I said, I just named 22 guys. That's an entire main event field right there. So these are all named guys that we've heard of. I'm really excited for these. So coming up this year, we have Indianapolis in March, Philadelphia in April, and then Salt Lake City in May for the finale, of course. So again, I'm really excited. It'll be mid-year. We hope to see these guys kind of in their best form. These guys will have some races under their belt. We won't be kind of starting off or just ending the year with these. So these are going to be really interesting this year, and I hope we see some really good racing. Next, I want to kind of talk about the Triple Crowns. I'm really excited for these as well. With Glendale, of course, and Arlington, which have traditionally, since the Triple Crown has come on, have been Triple Crowns. Having attended these in Arlington several times, these are really fun to watch. There is definitely some downtime watching on TV, but in person, they're unbelievable. It's awesome to get to watch all this racing. Those are both going to be in February for the West class. And then rounding out the year, we're going to have the Birmingham Triple Crown in March for the East class. That'll be an interesting one. It's an outdoor stadium. Last year they had rain at this race. I was there. They knocked down the whoops. It was a really weird race, just because of the way that the track was built, as if there was going to get a lot of rain, and it ended up drizzling half the day. That was about it. But it really made for an interesting race. We really got to see the the cream rise to the top. So we'll see how Birmingham plays out. The other two, Glendale and Arlington, are indoor stadiums with the Triple Crown. So I think they've tried to stay away from outdoor stadiums with Triple Crowns in the past. So we'll see how Birmingham works out. And that's kind of it that I have for the 250 class. Looking forward to continuing this podcast each week with a recap of the race. Not sure what day I'm going to drop going forward. We'll see which works out best for me. Maybe it'll be Sunday, maybe Monday or Tuesday. I know a lot of content comes out through the week. So, like I said, I'm trying to keep these short and keep these palatable, easy to listen to and digest, and, kind of just some more content out there. Keep it casual. So, look out for the Anaheim 1 recap next week at some point. Maybe I'll try to drop on Sunday this week and see how it goes, see if that works out for me. So, with that being said, thank you guys.